Hey, I'm Adam Post. I'm a creator and publisher of the ComicsGate book, College of the Dead, on Indiegogo right now. And I'll tell you what, it's real successful. I have been publishing comics for more than 30 years. I'm only 49, but I started as a teenager. And I see what ComicsGate's doing today, and it's amazing. It's saving an industry, it's creating a future for comic books. But there's this controversy between OG, like old school, the original ComicsGate guys who criticize comics and ComicsGate Today, who create comics. And I was on Ethan Van Sciver's show yesterday. We talked about it a little bit. And he's got the biggest ComicsGate show in the world. So, hell, I love being on that show. He's a lot of fun. The other guys are a lot of fun. And the guys who criticize comics are having a problem with the guys who are creating the comics. So Ethan says it here in a tweet. OGCG, the original ComicsGate guys, already turned on Zach. Your power as consumers end once you announce you're no longer supporting something and yet it thrives. That's what you guys don't understand. After you close your wallets, if you aren't going away, you're harassing. So the problem that the original old school ComicsGate guys seem to have is their agenda was to create YouTube videos and then just basically criticize the hell out of the mainstream media comics or out of the mainstream comics like Marvel's comics, DC's comics, and just say like, well, you're making too many changes. You're not allowing women to look like women anymore. The male characters aren't cool. You're switching around all the genders. All that stuff they pointed out was good. It was quality. They did a good job criticizing comics. But now there's some people, some of these original guys who want to criticize Ethan Van Sciver and the rest of what us creators are doing, making new comics. And the thing is, they can criticize it based on the content if they don't like the comics, but they're really getting personal, going after the personalities. And it's gotten to be a bit ridiculous on Twitter. They're disappointed, apparently, that the major companies didn't care about their videos. And it's like, you know what? That's life. Sometimes the major companies, sometimes people listen. Sometimes people will hear you. But the major companies, they're not interested. So if they want to close their wallets and not buy mainstream comics, they can do that. If they want to close their wallets and not buy ComicsGate comics by me and Ethan and John Malin and Zach and Carl from Death Sworn and all the other cool comic Wenger with Superhero, they don't have to buy those books. But there's no point to be fighting about it on Twitter. So, the thing of it is you can make your argument and you can fight with the main company, the big companies, and try to do YouTube videos on them. Go ahead, be successful with it. But if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. Marvel and DC don't love you. They're just not that into you. Get the point? But we would be, if you want to talk about our comics and be fair with them about criticizing them, God bless, do that. Support them. If you want to become creators with us, tweet at us and say, hey, you know what? I always wanted to write a comic. I kind of draw a little bit. I think I've got some talent. What do you think? What should I do? You could tweet at Ethan Van Sciver. He's the biggest guy in ComicsGate, and he's on Twitter still. He puts time and energy into it. He cares about what fans think. He'll respond. He'll give you some feedback. There's a lot of ways that we can all help each other, but it's time to help each other instead of fighting. And this is unfortunate, too, because the old school ComicsGate guys, in another tweet, Ethan writes, here, ridiculous. Old school ComicsGate guys tried to sabotage ComicsGate by spreading hatred for the creators who put their lives on the line for it, and they did it out of petty jealousy. Get your hearts right or stay in the rearview mirror. And what he's saying here is, really stop it with being so aggressive with the personal attacks. I sent this guy, Mo, we follow each other, the Mo Dome. I sent him a tweet earlier about this one, like, listen, stop with the personal attacks. It's not necessary, and is there a sense of jealousy? There's a sense of jealousy, but there's nothing to be jealous of. Just have respect for the guys who put their life and their career into trying to make comics professionally. Old school ComicsGate pointed out something great. They pointed out that they made a lot of great points about how, comics were always about good stories, good artwork, straight storytelling. Even I remember back in the 1980s when they took continuity seriously in stories. That's what comics were all about people who really cared about the medium and what they're doing. Now it's been turned into propaganda junk. And lots of appreciation and respect for the old school ComicsGate people that put all the time into making YouTube channels and pointing things out. But ComicsGate had to evolve because what do you think is going to happen to the professionals? You know, if there's some guys that are poisoning the pizza makers who make the pizza are eventually going to be like, listen, we're not serving poison pizza. We're going to go and start our own little restaurants. And that's what ComicsGate has done. And ComicsGate's done like $5 million in direct-to-consumer sales in the last 2 years. And in 2020, our target is $10 million in 1 year. That'd be 1% of the comic book industry. Can we do it? We're going to work like hell to try. You know, a lot of us have a lot of talent, so we're going to put all our talents into doing it. All right, so look, old school ComicsGate, they're good people at heart. They point you out something good. They're just on a bad path right now. They got to get straight. They got to support what they love about comics. It just may not, we can't make Spider-Man for you, and we're sorry about that. We can't make Batman for you. The big companies control those properties. So support the little guys and anybody who's not DC or Marvel. We are the little guys. We're looking for 1%. We're looking for 10 million all collectively. You know, if we can do that, 1% of the billion that the comics industry does, thanks to Nerdrotic for those numbers. All right, so support the people who are doing what you want. But you got to understand, sometimes you might not get what you want, but you get what you need, like the Rolling Stones song. And I'm not singing it for you unless you start supporting us. Then I will do a video singing it for you. This is my project, College of the Dead. It's rocketing up. You know, this was a small project I did just to get back into comics publishing. I've been out for a few years. It's all the way up to $9,400. You can still get it on Indiegogo. You can go to collegeofdead.com. It's a story, and it'll redirect to this. It's a story about zombie apocalypse taking place. There are students and teachers that have to fight for their lives. It's a really well-written done. I'm the well-written story. It's really well done. The book is completely done. Sorry, is what I meant to say. It's in print. It's shipping right now all over the world, and I couldn't be happier. And book 2 is coming out soon, just in a few weeks, and it's going to be full color. You guys are going to love it, and that's thanks to ComicsGate giving me so much support. The next one's going to be in full color, and it's going to be even bigger than this one. All right, so go ahead. Support ComicsGate, support what you believe in, make peace. If you want to make comics, if you already make little indie comics and you want it to be bigger indie comics and you want us to help you promote them, just ask, but just, you know, respect other people, you know, think of how the other person feels sometimes. I'll be back soon with another video, and if I don't see you, I will miss you. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click the bell for notifications, and like this video. You are helping ComicsGate save comics.